She birthed all 18 of these children?
Yes, she did. The last 9, I think it was 9, 8 or 9, they called the doctor pretty much when the baby was born to come and check things out.
We have the legend, Melissa Corken, service director at our GM campus in Cedar Rapids. Thanks for being on here.
My pleasure.
Missy, Mel, Melissa. How many nicknames do you have?
A lot.
What am I missing?
Mo. Yeah, there we go.
Missy, Mel, Melissa, Mo. I feel like there's another one.
Can't tell you the
What's
other
Paul
one.
call you? Melissa?
He calls me Melissa.
Does he? All right.
Yeah.
What do your kids call you? Are they still calling you mom now that
They still call me mom. Yeah. Sometimes Yeah.
You don't, mom is another nickname in the shop.
It is another nickname. Fake grandma's another nickname in the shop.
So you have a big year coming up. 2 weddings. Talk about that.
I do. So Sky is my daughter, as you know, and Clayton, the only 2 kids we have. They both decided to get married this year. So Sky lives in Washington.
Yep. She was just here.
She was just here. Yeah. She lives out there. She loves it out there. It's outdoor. It's kind of her gig, and I'm super happy for her that they made that move. But she got engaged, and she's gonna get married out there in Hood River, Oregon, right by the Columbia River Gorge. So I'm super pumped about going out there.
Yeah, I've never been there, but
yeah, it's really pretty. I told Paul I'd love to go out there and just explore, and maybe we'll even see a Bigfoot. You never know. So this is fun. This is one of my goals, right? A Bigfoot sighting. So that's in September, and then Clayton, he decided after Sky got engaged, and they're getting married in May, which is Memorial Day weekend. So we have a really big year because June he gets married in May, and June I'm having his reception at our house. So there's a lot of work to be done there. Have special gardens and landscaping and all those good things that go along with that. And then Sky gets married in September, and Paul's niece just called and said she's getting married 2 weeks after Sky's getting married in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So figuring all that out is I'm going to have jet lag. I just know I am. But
one wedding planning and execution is enough, but 2 for you, that's a big year.
Yeah, that is a big year. Yeah, super. But I'm super
fun.
excited. Yeah. There's a lot to that. Like when we got married years ago, it seemed much simpler than it is now. Now it's very precise and so
the bachelor and bachelorette parties are now trips. You go for 3, 4, 5 days.
Yeah, they're destinations now. Yeah. Ours were go to the little local bar area, hop around a little bit, say hi to each other, dance, get a little crazy, and then go home for the night. Now it's so we're going to go to Europe. I have a niece that went to Europe for a bachelorette party. Right? Yeah, all over. So
that's super fun. Well, thanks again for being on here, and I think this is a really special time to have you on because this week is the Women Lead Change Week, the big event that happens, and you being a women in leadership in a certainly more male-dominated industry, especially in the service world. So as a service director of the entire GM campus, how many technicians? 50 probably? Without detail.
Without detail, we are just shy of 50. Yeah.
So 50 mechanics. And then you have how many advisors?
There are 12 advisors, including internal. So I have 1 internal advisor, but there's 12 altogether on the campus.
12 advisors. Plus we have the detail department. So you're overseeing, with all the mechanics, advisors, detailers, porters, we're talking probably around, what would you say, 80?
Yeah, I think it was 84, 85 last time I counted everybody. Yeah. Yep.
And the nature of the mechanic and the service repair world is male dominated, right?
It is.
And so a majority of those are males.
Yes.
Right. We have some great females as well.
Mm-hmm.
Highlight on the drive, you have Beth Haydenfeld, long-time, unbelievable employee. Caitlin Kuhn does a really good job down at the BOGMC store. So we have some really good females as well. How did you get into the car business? Let's talk about that.
Okay.
and then where you are now and how you lead the way that you do, which is at a really high level. So
Well, I got into the car world by accident. So I graduated college with a Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor in Computer Graphics and Animation. And my brother, Derek, was in the car business already.
yeah,
And I did not find a job right away. I think that my degree was a little ahead of the time. And so it wasn't an automatic, there's this great need in our area, in the Quad City area. So um, literally, I was broke. I had $100 to my name. And my brother said, "Hey, do you want to come and work at a dealership?" And I said, "I don't know what I would do there." And he
Yeah.
said, "Well," he said, "there's a lot of things you can do that people don't always know." And he said, "Basically, I need somebody in customer service in the service department." And I said, "Like, what kind of customer service?" And he said, "Well, you've helped people and you work customer service and you take care of issues that people have. And we need that in our service department." And so literally I was broke and decided I need a job, whatever it is, I got to have a job.
Mm-hmm.
So I took a job for a dealership in the Quad Cities, and I was the customer relations quality control person in service. So test drove vehicles with people, made sure I knew what they needed fixed, and then I would quality check it after the technicians were done. I drove every vehicle after the techs were done before the customers called, and put I had a little quality control stamp and stamped it on the little repair order. Yeah. And once it was stamped, they could call the customer and the customer come pick it up. So I did that, and I was having fun at it. I really was having fun helping people. And when, you get a customer that's pretty upset and they come in, and the whole goal for me was to try and turn them around. And I really enjoyed doing that. And it was meant to be a very temporary job or position until I decided where I was going to go with this degree.
Yeah.
But as you probably know, you kind of get addicted to the business,
Mm-hmm.
and you get addicted to helping customers. And so I ended up staying. After about 4 or 5 months, I got an offer from John Deere. I graduated with a gal, and she called. Her name was Renee, and she called and she said, "Hey, Melissa, there's this opportunity to do virtual reality, teach John Deere employees in their area how to do the software that we learned."
Okay.
And I thought, oh man, I was really narrow-sighted. And I thought, I don't want to do that. I want to do it myself. I don't want to teach everybody to do that. So I turned that down. And there was no looking back after that. I just stayed in the car business, and don't have any regrets. I believe that everything happens for a reason. You make decisions for a particular reason. And so that's how I got into the business. And I got sucked in, and had a really good female manager at that store who really enabled me to grow as a female and as a person in the industry.
Yeah.
And really said there's no barriers. Like, you can't think there are barriers when you're here. And so that's what I did. So I thought, okay, I'm doing a job, so I'm going to do it the best I can. So I'm still here.
Very cool. And how has there been any specific challenges with managing so many males, and how have you navigated that? Probably been ups and downs with that, and just kind of open-ended there.
There are challenges, because and at that time, especially when you're young, I think, regardless of whether you're male or female, when you're young, you don't have the big picture yet, right?
Yeah.
You know what you know, and you don't know what you don't know. And the big challenge, I think, for me, I was in my early 20s, was truly understanding that people think differently. And for me to be in the role that I was, test driving vehicles that these technicians were fixing, bringing it back and telling them that I didn't think it was fixed, or it's not, I'm still hearing what the customer heard, that had its moments of contentious.
I bet there was.
They're like, who are you? Like, Are you a technician? No, I'm not. But I'm here to tell you that I'm still hearing what they're hearing.
Yeah,
Right. So,
yeah.
so those were challenging times when you're questioning somebody that they're in the profession, they're doing it, they're fixing it, and you're telling them it's not fixed. So I had to really learn how to navigate how to present that information back to them.
Sure.
And do it in a way that produced collaboration and working with them. But I will tell you, there were times where there's a couple of technicians, one in particular, that we really were almost nose to nose arguing about something. And my boss at the time said, "Hey, we got to talk about this in a different way, right? You're trying to take care of the customer because you know what they're doing. He's trying to fix the issue." And so that was probably the biggest learning curve that I had.
Sure.
To be able to think differently than what I normally thought. And males and females do think differently. They process differently. So it took me a while to learn that. And I wasn't right a lot of times, and sometimes they weren't right. But that took a long time to get through. And that's probably the foundation of what I have now is I don't ever tell anybody I'm a technician. If I don't know that answer, I'm not going to tell you that. But I don't pretend to be something that I'm not. I don't have that experience in that.
Yeah.
I would love to, but I just haven't been. So, and the nice thing is I grew up in that business at a place where the technicians were very much open to that after the fact. My eyes would glaze over and a technician would say, "Okay, you don't get it." I'm like, "No, no, I don't. I need to see it." And so they'd take me back and they'd show it to me.
Yeah.
They'd draw a picture, they'd show it to me, and so that I could explain it in a way that the customer would understand. So I think I'm very thankful that I had technicians and still do have technicians that will explain something just so I can understand it. Because if I don't understand it, I'm not capable of fluffing that to the customer. Like I need to know the hows and whys.
Yeah.
And that's how I'm wired. So, but yeah, definite challenges.
And it's over 5 years now you've been here, right?
Yeah, 5 years.
We recruited you out of the Quad Cities.
Yep.
And for the listeners, tell us your commute and how you set that up. And then now, obviously, we'll get to Paul now being here as well. But you first start, we tap you on the shoulder, recruit you to come work here, and you start commuting with a townhouse here in the area. So
so when I came here and when I was invited to come here for the interview, I'd met Jeff back in the Quad Cities. I talked to Paul and I said, "Hey, what do you think?" And he said, "I think you ought to go. You got to just go check it out. Just do it." I said, "Okay." So when I came here and I left the interview, I called him on the way home and I said, I don't know how to tell you this." And he said, "Well, don't feel bad if you didn't get the job." And I said, "Well, I don't know if I got the job right now, but I can tell you I really want it. And I don't know what we're going to do. If I'm going to live here, if you're going to come with me." It was, we had to really talk about that a little bit. And when we got home, fortunately, our kids were out of school.
Yep.
And so that helped for the most part. Clayton, I think, still had a couple of years of college left.
Right.
But so we decided at that time that he would not transfer here, would not move here right away. Because let's face it, if it doesn't work, then you've given all that up, right? So the whole goal and the whole idea was I'll give it 2 years. Because honeymoon's over, you really know if you're going to stay in a place after 2 years. And so that's how I thought about it. And so I come here on Monday mornings, and then I would go home on Friday nights. So I'd stay at home on the weekends, and I'd get up early on Monday morning, and I'd drive here to work, straight to work on Monday morning. And that commute was not always fun because you're getting up and you're leaving by 4:30, quarter to 5, because I have a meeting every morning at 6:45 with the advisors. And so I did that for a long time. And I still do that some, but that's really the commute. People will ask me, "Do you do that daily?" And it's a little too long to do daily.
Yeah.
If it was an hour, I could do it daily, but it's just under 2 hours. So yeah, I rented a little place in Ely, great little town.
Yeah. Dan and Deb's. Do you ever
Dan
hit
and
that up?
Deb's. Oh yeah, Dan and Deb's. And part of the reason I chose that when I was offered the job and I accepted it, Paul and I drove here the weekend before I was starting because I wanted to see where I wanted to live. And that was probably the hardest thing for me because I live in the country.
Yes.
I have 20
You have
acres.
Beautiful property out there.
Right. And so that was the hardest part for me was, oh my gosh, am I really going to live in town? Like, that was a big deal to me.
Yeah.
And so when we had went to see this place in Ely, that was my decision was, okay, this is not the big city of Cedar Rapids, which is that's exactly what it felt like to me, was this big city of Cedar Rapids.
Yeah.
So I chose to stay in Ely, and yeah, Dan and Deb's is great, and Odie's is there, and the bike path and all that good stuff. So, and it's a great little town. I love it. Absolutely love it. So,
what made you think about, I guess, initially leaving and accepting coming here, and then also what made you say, yeah, I'm going to do this? Like, what were the decision points?
I think it's important to know for me, it's very important to know that I never wanted to stay at a place where I would wake up in the morning and not want to go to work. And that is where I was at. And it wasn't a fault of the place I worked or myself necessarily, but it was important to understand for me that the two of us, the place I was working and myself, that we weren't a good fit. And so that 2-year mark for me was, you should know by then.
Yeah,
right?
That's fair.
And so when I got a phone call from a recruiter, just the day I had it, I thought to myself, how long am I going to stay at a place that I don't enjoy coming to? Because I think, you want to have fun every day, so it doesn't feel like a job. And so that's why I answered that call. And I thought, I can't believe I'm answering this call. I've never answered a call like this before.
Yeah.
Right? Because we grew up in a time period where it was, you take a job, you stay there as much as you can, right? You stay there, you're loyal, and sometimes to a detriment, I think.
Yeah.
So I answered the call and interviewed and decided after the interview up here, I really enjoyed my interview in the Quad Cities, but when I came up here and I got to meet you and Pat and Jeff all at the same time.
Yeah, that's right. I was up at the Ford store.
Yep. And when Pat asked me to come around the table and sit next to him because he wanted to show me the vision, the VTO.
Oh, yeah.
That was so paramount in my thinking, this company has everything together. And I can't believe they'd show me this on an interview. And so that really resonated with me to be at a place that had that much thought and caring in what they were doing. And you guys are very easy to talk to, very easy to interview with. And so when I was offered the job and I accepted the job, it was a no-brainer. So it felt right. And that's honestly how I felt. Honest to God, I was like, I was brought here for a reason, and this feels so right. And so, yeah, I still like it. I hope you still like me.
Yeah, we love you. Gosh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And you've built a great team and just had so much fun. And I think back to that the first 3 months onto the job, COVID hits.
Oh my
And then I
goodness.
was like, oh God, Melissa, we gotta.
Yeah.
No customers coming in the store because that was that was a whirlwind.
It was, yeah.
Remember that?
I remember every bit of that. That was, I have to do, how is this all going to work?
Yeah.
I just thought, how will we ride this wave?
Yeah.
Because, nobody had been through that before. And I certainly hadn't been through that before, but you have ups and downs. But yeah,
That was only, because I think you started in January of 20. So that would have been.
Yeah, January 6th.
Not even 3 years.
Nope. I went to, March is a memorial run that I do for my sister-in-law every year down in Florida.
Yep.
And so I remember going down to Florida, and I remember, because that's mid-March.
Yep.
And I remember just starting to hear some whispers of something going around, right? And I had gotten back from that trip, and it was, we had a meeting shortly after on, okay, how are we going to navigate COVID? Here's what we're going to need to do. Here's this. And yeah, it was a whirlwind. I got back and thought, am I still going to have a job? I just started. That's initially what I thought.
Yeah,
was,
sure.
If I'm still going to have a job, what's going to happen now? But oh well. So, yeah.
And what do you right now? Kind of what's on top of your mind? Like what's focus or what challenges? We have this tariff thing going on, which could impact parts. But I mean, guys, what's top of mind with your team right now? What are you thinking about and focused on?
For our team, I think it's about truly what I think about a lot is the growth of our business. I think that is always a challenge when there's so much in the media about things that may or may not affect us. I think a lot of people think they're going to affect us, and then they don't necessarily affect us. So kind of keeping that pulse and reality on our employees as well, right? Because sometimes I think that gets in their head and it's a matter of mindset. Yeah. So what's in your mind is going to potentially carry into what the customer's mind is thinking. So, but it's growth for business. But really for me, it's growth about those on our team that you recognize that really have this potential to go to the next level. And what's really rewarding is helping somebody get there. So for me, it is about that a lot right now, like truly understanding. And it took a long time for me to understand the power of delegating and helping somebody grow, because more people want to do that than what you realize sometimes. As a manager or supervisor, you don't think everybody wants that. And then you have this conversation, this quiet conversation, or just a casual conversation, and you find out that person wants to be a manager someday. So it's picking up those little nuggets and planting those nuggets and kind of helping water that and help them grow and flourish so that whenever I retire, whenever I decide to be done, it's going to be about, did I help somebody get to another level? Did I help somebody grow in some way, whether it's professional or personal? So I think about that a lot. I think about what impact can I have for that. It's not about me. It's about helping somebody else, because I get a lot of joy out of watching somebody get to that next level or do better and things like that. So,
well said. And you've no doubt had an impact on a number of people. Think about Tyler Headkey, he's a manager now with the BO GMC. He started out never been in the car business, came in as an advisor, Green, Coralville. Now he runs the BO GMC Cadillac. Colin Peters, another one. He's now a commercial and fleet manager in service, doing a great job. I'm thinking another female, Maddie McCormick, look at her growth as far as an internal advisor, the handling of, think how many used cars she handles a month. That was probably a big change for you when you came from a just business tactical standpoint. It was like the amount of used car business we do, the volume.
Yeah. Large. You as a service manager, you know that used cars are your customer. You know that that's a customer of yours. But to the scale that we do it here is, okay, you have to have a good process in place for that. And you have to have the right people in place to be able to manage that and get everything through, because I do understand. My brother's in sales. So that was a very, very big advantage for me to understanding the whole thing instead of just my little area, my little bubble. And I remember him always saying, it costs money if we don't get these things on the lot. I was a service manager. He was a used car manager at the other place we worked, right? So I'd be like, when are you going to get my cars? Get my cars out there. It costs me money, right? So I'm like, yeah, I get it. So coming here and seeing this level, this volume was like, oh boy, this could be a monster. And but it's been fun. And Maddie does an excellent job. Oh, yeah. And she's young, but the level which she operates, she doesn't appear to be that young. Like she gets it. So
just from getting into some numbers here a little bit. First of all, go back 3 years, we didn't even really track our what we call our ADR,
Right.
average days
Yep.
in reconditioning. So just quick explanation: we would trade for a vehicle, or we buy a vehicle, we start a clock,
Yep.
and how long does it take from when we trade for that car, when we purchase the auction? How long does it take for it to be frontline ready back on the lot for sale? And so we challenged you and the entire service team when we got our technology to be able to track this properly with Rapid Recon. We got to get under 5 days.
Yeah.
Soup to nuts. We need to be under 5 days.
Yeah.
And when we started, where were we at when we actually turned on Rapid Recon? We're double digits.
We were. I think it was 10.8 is a number that I remember seeing 10.8.
Yep.
Thinking, ooh, that's a bright light shining at you.
Yep. And we just had our quarterly with our GM team on Monday, and we're sitting 4 consistently, 3-5.
We're under that.
Where you at?
We're under that. Yeah. We are consistently under. We're consistently under 4. We've been under 3 for 2 months.
Yeah, you guys
right now. So
doing an amazing job, Maddie, and that's Maddie. That's the used car technicians that we have. We have designated used car technicians, and the detail department, photo department, everybody working together, parts department, sourcing those things, and
that's focused.
It's been fun, and it makes a huge impact.
It does make a huge impact, dollar wise, for the company. Makes a huge impact, and it feels good to know that. It feels good to know that you're not holding something up, right? Yep. You're not costing money. You're not holding something or something up, but because that's always in the back of your mind. That's in the back of my mind as a manager is, okay, what are you costing? What are you holding up? Like, we always want to be the person in the back, the people in the background. Like, we don't want that bullseye, right? I don't want that spotlight. I'm not good in the spotlight. So
That's cool. Because, when we originally launched it, we did that study. It's like basically used cars they're depreciating assets. So that's the why. Is like we need to get these things for sale on the lot as efficiently, do it the right way, we recondition it the right way, and do it as efficient as possible. And so it's a big impact for the used car department and in turn our customer to have a good finished product on the lot. And you've consistently been crushing that.
Thank you.
I do want to switch gears back to Paul because that has been another fun. And you were a lead recruiter to get our latest big time management hire.
Yeah.
Your husband, Paul Corken.
Yeah.
So talk about that business. This was September he started? October.
October 4th. Yeah.
October 4th, my son's birthday. That's right.
Yep.
So talk about Paul, what he did before, how you initially started that conversation, and why we recruited him over to lead the Siren team.
So Paul is a manufacturing engineering. He went to school for that. He has been at a couple of different places, but he's very process driven, design oriented, all those things, right? Yep. And so this Jeff Cole's big idea of throwing out doing ambulances, and everybody's like, what are you gonna do? Because he's a big idea guy. Little
background on it, if you don't mind. Sorry. It started because Tyler Young was selling a company, ambulances, through our Ford store, and we needed to figure out a way to help them get the new ambulances mounted on these chassis that they were ordering chassis from him. And then we got into that, and we got into the remount business because there's that whole, you can explain this better than I do, but not only are we doing installs of brand new ambulances, but we're doing remounts and refurbishments of old ones because they have to get refurbished, remounted every certain number of years in use and miles and things like that. Mm-hmm. So our commercial and fleet building on 51st, across the street from where we're at right now, 51st and Council, we have an entire team of ambulance squad that's doing an amazing job taking care of our customers. So,
well, it grew so fast. So that was, you're right, that at first it was, let's get the box on the new chassis.
Yep.
Right. And then it was for Preston up at the Ford campus was for our transits, the van type of situations. we need repowers, right? So
Yeah.
they're Ford, they're going to do that. That's what it started out as. And as we're working on this, Jeff and Preston and I and the sales side, as we're working on it, every time we would see the person come in, they would say, "Oh, can you do this? Oh, can you do this? Oh, can you add this?" Right? And of course, we're like, Jeff is like, "Yep, we can do it. We'll figure it out." And we just kept adding to that. You know, we had add paint. We're stripping vinyl. We're sanding. We're painting. We're doing new vinyl. So now we're not only just changing it over the box from one chassis to another, we're now making it look better, right? Mm-hmm. So we're getting it spruced up a little bit. So what I typically would do, I go home on the weekends, we cook dinner, we sit out on the deck, and I'm talking about these ambulances, and now we got to do this, and Paul's like, "Well, why don't you just do this? Why don't you just do this?" I'm like, "Okay, I'll bring it up," right? His mind's already spinning. Yeah. So his mind had been spinning for 3 or 4 months on this deal. And he was at the time working at Continental Cement. And he was logistics there. Used to being in manufacturing. He worked at John Deere on the floor there at the big plant, Harvester or John Deere in East Moline, where they make the combines. So he had helped do a whole facility plan, and he was on the floor with assemblers and manufacturing and all that. So the more we kept adding and the busier we were getting, we knew, Jeff, I think, knew, I knew, Preston knew that we were going to need somebody to just do that full time. We could not keep up with all the new things they wanted us to do and take it to that next level. And the volume that we were starting to do, we couldn't share that. We needed somebody to do that. Yeah. And so we were eating dinner on the deck, and he kept saying, "Why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do this?" And I said, "Well, why don't you do this?
Get your ass over here."
I said, "Why don't you do this?" And he's like, "Well, maybe I will." And he's like joking, right? So I think he's joking. And then he got quiet and he said, "Okay, so tell me exactly how this works. What exactly are you doing?" And so I just went through the whole process with him, what we were doing. And I said, "You know, this job that you're currently at, you're as far as you're going to go in this job." And he has a desire to just do more and learn more and grow more regardless, right? And I said, "If you ever want to entertain this idea, you should come up and let Jeff Cole give you a tour." I'm not doing it. You let Jeff Cole give you a tour, and I'll make that arrangement for you. And he said, "Oh, maybe I will." And then he called me and he said, "Yeah, I think I will. I think I'll come and check it out. I'm making you no promises, but I'll come and check it out." I said, "Okay." So I told Jeff, and Jeff's like, "Cool." I gave him his phone number, and I said, you call him. This is a you deal. You call him." So they did. He called him, and he came up, and he interviewed, and one of the guys from MMT happened to be here when he came through, so he got to see it, and then he went back home. And when I went home that weekend, I said, "What'd you think?" And he said, "You got to get that organized. Like, you got stuff everywhere. Like, what is your process? Write your process down for me." And my face just went, okay, what's he going to want me to write here? And then I said, "I can't write this process down. I'm just going to tell you what we do." I said, "This is what we need. We need somebody who has a manufacturing mind. Yeah. Somebody that can think about how a facility should be laid out and planned out and where to put things. Somebody that can put processes down on paper and execute those processes," which is him. Yeah, oh yeah. And he said, "Okay." It's not that I wanted to portray that we didn't know what we were doing, but it was more of a, you really need somebody that thinks that way. Yep. And as you know, sometimes you in our level 10s, you'll ask, what'd you do? What's your positive for the weekend? And sometimes I would say it was a Paul Corken weekend. And everybody knows when it's a Paul Corken weekend, there's a project that we are doing, and he's got it planned out, and we are doing it. And it's done by the time I come to work Monday morning. So it was one of those no-brainer if he's interested. And I think he would have a lot of fun doing it. And he's always wanted to do something that was in its infancy more and kind of grow it. So
He's done an amazing job. Him and Dan Bieber. I mean, it's fun to go in there and see what they're working on, and just this whole new business.
Yeah.
That you help get off the ground, and Paul is taking over. Obviously, you're still involved in some level, but Paul is still. It's been fun to watch that grow.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot more potential too. I mean.
Oh yeah, I know that he thinks about all the additional things you can do. How setups should be, next steps of setup. Just efficiency. I would say is the big thing right there. Is to make things efficient and process driven.
Yeah.
Because he sees it. He already sees it. He's like, man, this thing could be huge. It just could be huge. I said, yeah, I know. It could be huge.
Yeah.
So.
Plus the upfit. I mean,
yeah.
The upfit and that, what they've been able to create, So talk about what we do with the upfitting side. What are some of the things they're working on the upfit side?
They do a lot on the upfit side now. They have companies ordering vans, Equinoxes, trucks. They're putting shelving units in. They're making the inside. They take the inside of something and they'll make it empty. They'll build floors. They'll have our rust-proof undercoat team take care of specially built floors.
Yep.
Luke builds a lot of things himself. He does a lot of woodworking. Yeah. So he'll build the base of it. They'll cover it how it's been requested. Slide outs, shelving units, ladder racks, drop downs. They're doing everything. And they even did, Mahaska had a unit come in here.
Yeah.
And they did a lot of upfit on that, specific to what they wanted. They took something that was on a Ford chassis and they wanted to put it on a Dodge chassis. And so there was a lot of custom modifications that needed to be done to make that sale right for the customer.
Yeah.
And I think they do it on a scale now where if a customer comes into fleet and they want to buy 40 units, figure out this is what we need. Can you figure that out? And that's what we're doing now. Is we are able to, yes, we can figure this out. We have vendors that we can use for certain modifications if we can't do it to help us get the product to its end result that they want.
Really fun.
Yeah,
it's fun to go in there. It's
cool to see.
We're creating Wardell and then we're creating Luke.
Yeah.
They do a really good job.
They do. They do a really good job.
It's almost like an upstart. It's like a startup company.
It's
just like super flexible, energy.
Yeah.
Trying to find the new way. But you have Paul who came in and like, now we're going to add some really good structure and it's just kind of keeps because of that.
Yeah. And that's what I think is fun about it is you don't, you jump into something. I commonly refer to it as, listen, let's just jump in the deep end. We don't necessarily need floaties yet. Let's just see. And so once it gets rolling, you're thinking, okay, yeah, we can do this.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's what you need to do. You have to have a little blind faith, I call that. Like, don't think of every little thing and figure out why it won't work, right? Have that blind faith to just go.
Yep.
Just go. If there's an obstacle, we'll jump over it, go around it, or go under it. But let's just go. So,
shifting gears a little bit. I was just thinking about this, and there's positive, even though this is a tough situation, because you've been here maybe, I'm trying to remember the exact year and month, Casey and Miss Casey Orton.
Yeah, 2001.
21.
Or 21. Yep. 2021, yes.
I think that was like October
13th.
Yep, 2021. I was just trying to think. You and I, you more at the forefront of leading that. I mean, certainly the biggest challenge I've faced. That and the James Steffen situation. The Casey one, just talk about that. And Casey was a technician. Talk about him and then how that was.
Yeah.
How challenging that was for you.
Yeah, it was definitely something I have never experienced. Casey was the mentor in our shop. So he took in students and when I first came here, we did a book club. And what he said to everybody all the time was, my goal, my vision is always to be better tomorrow than I was today.
Yeah.
And he really truly lived that, right? And so he mentored a lot of people. He took all the young people in. He didn't just mentor young technicians. He mentored whoever he was around. And he mentored in a way that made you feel like you could be better.
Yeah.
Like, don't ever think you can't be better. You can. And he was just a really bright, shining person in our service department, as you know. Everybody loved him, and he impacted everybody. And so in 2021, when he was killed, tragically killed, it was, I saw how it affected everybody in our department, myself included. And to think about how you're going to get through that, for me, was you have to help other people get through it. So I didn't
turn into the mom mode.
Yeah, it was not for me, it was I have an entire team here who loves him so much, including myself. I couldn't think about that in any other way than helping us as a team get through that, accept it, make sure it was a safe spot, that everybody knew it was, you're going to have, these are going to be, they're big emotions, right? It's a big loss, they're big emotions, and it's okay to feel that way. You don't have to be super strong in the moment. Just being somebody that cared about how others were going to get through it helped me get through it, wanting to take care of them. As Paul says to me often, are you taking care of yourself, or are you just taking care of other people?
Yeah.
But in that moment, for me, that's what made me feel better, was to help others feel better. And remember him, because that's the hardest part, I think, when you lose somebody that you care a great deal about, is people around you aren't sure if it's okay to talk about that with you, when really that's what we need. Like, we need to talk about Casey. Yeah. We need to talk about James and what impact they had on us, and so that we can heal ourselves. And I don't think you can heal if you don't talk about it. And so I just tried to help myself and our team know that it's okay, and here's your safe spot. And I still have a picture up of Casey that he drew me, and I just said his name today, and I refer often to him. But that makes it real, and that makes it a fun, good memory, not a sad memory. And that's what you don't want to cry all the time when you think about that. I don't, so I want to talk as much about it as I can, so that I get that smile, because I can see his red hair, and I can see that smile.
Oh yeah,
I can see that knock on that window right behind me to scare me. Yeah. So
his energy is contagious, and
there's that. But that is the hardest thing I've ever done. Yeah. I think, is to help with that situation in a big group.
And we still have his toolbox in the shop.
We do.
His daughter came up. She was in Utah, and we ended up buying the toolbox from her. Like, hey, we'll buy this because we want to be able to use this with all the tools. To kind of carry on his legacy of helping and mentoring young technicians. That for for those who don't know, a toolbox alone and the tools inside of it, extraordinarily expensive. And our technicians are very proud of that, and spend really good money to have the right tools and the right toolboxes. And so for new technicians getting into the field, it takes time to accumulate those tools. And we do some things to help, but this is a great way for us to say, hey, you've got a toolbox, you've got tools that we can use. And I know they're using it. Our Kirkwood students that we have, and Rochard, manages that part of it, but it's good to walk by that toolbox and still see it, because it has this big
it has this big yellow, smiling emoji on it.
Yep.
You got that big graphic done. And when we first put it out there, when we bought it and we put it in there, it had some mixed emotions from people.
Yeah, see that.
But in the end, it was like, that's Casey's, and that you just smile when you walk by it. And so we tell our kids that come to us from Kirkwood, that they can use tools out of there, get them going until they get something on their own. And we tell them who it belonged to and what he was about. And it means something to them too. So it's good to see people using it. I know Casey absolutely would love that.
Yeah.
To know that students are using it and he's helping them in their own way. So it's a big deal. Yeah. That was cool.
That is cool. And we got the scholarship out of the Kirkwood Community College. We do that scholarship for people who kind of fit the Casey Orton description.
Yeah.
And we have our Casey Orton Award as well that we give every year to a technician in our company. So that's keep his legacy on, because he was a great, fun guy to walk back and talk to in the shop. And
he was.
So they miss him.
Yeah. Yep. Always positive.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we do a segment, shifting gears from that to, we'll pull out some questions that we can kind of ask back and forth.
Oh boy.
That's all right.
Okay.
I'll start. So we'll pull these sheets out.
Okay.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
Oh boy.
Melissa, if you you already have about 17 names, but if you had to change your first name, what would you change it to?
Cindy Crawford. I mean, no. I would, oh gosh, I've never thought about that. I've never thought about changing my name. I love my name.
It's okay.
I love my name. I don't know that I'd change my name. If I had to pick a name, it'd probably be Faith.
I like it.
Mm-hmm. Probably Faith. I get deeper in my faith the older I get, and
That's very cool.
I'd probably say Faith.
I know a Faith that she works at Starbucks. Have you ever go to the Starbucks on First Ave?
No.
That's where I just got this. Actually, I'm hiding I'm hiding my nitro cold brew every afternoon. I gotta. Might be a grande, might be a tall. Tonight's a grande, or today is a grande day because my wife's actually in Florida all week, so I've got the 4 kids.
Oh.
And she set me up for 100% success. I mean, you go into my fridge right now, Melissa, and here's the meals on each night, already made, labeled. She has snacks that are already set up with bags, like the after school snacks, Sayer Wednesday, Hayes Wednesday. I mean,
she has
dialed. She has me totally set up for success, but I still went with the grande versus just the tall.
I love that. I love that. Okay, my turn?
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, Faith is awesome.
All right.
She's at Starbucks.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm going to do... Ooh, there you go. Like it. Can you make a prediction about yourself 1 year from today?
Oh, man. 1 year from today, prediction?
Yeah.
Ooh. How deep do you want to get?
We can deep, shallow, whatever you choose.
Oh, gosh. You know, I don't know. We're just in this stage of life right now where I'm just so focused on when I'm not working, I'm doing what I can to just be really engaged in my kids' lives. Yep. You know, I mean, 13, 11, 9, 7. So this is the heart. We're in it. And we just have a blast with that. So it would still be around, just still really active in their lives, help coaching. You know, I coach baseball. Just active, continuing to work on relationship with my wife. The leadership team I think about comes to my mind as well. You know, we had, Andy Burns now in place as the GSM at this campus, and just continuing to build health and strength and leadership. I mean, we've got a great leadership team at this store everywhere. So I think about that. Just a healthy group of people I get to work with every day, healthy home, healthy body, always working on that. And a healthy relationship with my wife. So that's kind of boring, but it's like, that's what
It's all right.
That's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, healthy. If you want to run a marathon, yell at me.
Yeah, I'm
We'll
not
get you
doing
there.
that.
Oh, okay.
That's you. That's you. I did a half marathon. Oh gosh, that would have been before my son was born. Really enjoyed that, but you marathon.
Yeah.
How many have you run?
2 roads and then 50K. Trail running is what I prefer to do.
You do like the trail running.
Trail running. It's easier on your knees.
Every once in a while, you'll come in and be like just hobbling. You got hip deals. Because don't you still work out with Molly at the back?
Yeah. Yep.
I saw her the other day. My kids go. My oldest works out there.
Yeah, she's gotten really busy. So I have Hannah, she's really tough. Yeah.
You guys get after it?
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Yeah. She looks at me and she says, you're stronger than you think you are. No, I'm not reducing that weight. Okay.
That's cool. If you could spend the day with anyone in the world, who would that be and what would you do? Ooh. I'm going to say no Paul either. We know Paul's the number one. He's the dude.
I'm with him enough.
Yep. We need somebody else. Okay.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. Anybody in the world? That's a big question. There's a lot of fun answers I could do.
For sure.
There's a lot of fun answers you could do with this. I would say a real quick, easy answer, because I'd love to spend time with this person as an adult versus a kid.
Sure.
Would be my grandmother, my Grandma Fish. I'd love to spend an entire day with her as an adult, because she had 18 children, and she grew.
What?
Yep, and she grew all of her own food. 9 boys, 9 girls. Yep. She lived till she was 97 years old, and she was the most. She loved people unconditionally and accepted people, period. And in the history, I would love to spend a day with my grandmother, an adult.
She birthed all 18 of these children?
Yes, she did. The last 9, I think it was 9, 8 or 9. I might be off on that by 1 or 2 kids. They called the doctor pretty much when the baby was born to come and check things out.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where does she live?
She lives in Wisconsin, or lived in Wisconsin. No.
Wow.
Yeah. Probably.
That's a great.
Yeah. I mean, there's some famous people I'd love to hang out with for a little bit, but
this is way
as
more
an
nice.
adult, I think it would be Grandma Fish.
Wow. Great answer.
Yeah.
All right, you're up.
Let's see here. Ooh, this would be fun. If you could swap lives with any fictional character for a day, who would it be and why?
Fictional character.
Yes.
Gosh. Okay. Where do I go here? I'm going to say Gru. I'm going to say Gru from Despicable Me, my guy. This cat.
Love it.
This cat, all these gadgets he has.
Yeah.
And the things he can do.
I would love that. I would love to see
Think about how fun that would be.
You need to dress up next Halloween for the contest, and you need to be Gru and get a bunch of minions around you. I'm sure we can.
He's got these minions that are the cutest things in the world, and he can do really cool stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Who will Gru be tonight? That's the question. That's what I think of.
I like that one.
What's your favorite dessert? That's an easy one.
Oh, my favorite dessert is pecan pie.
Ooh. Mm-hmm. There you go. Is there like a family tie to that, or you just love pecan pie?
My pecan pie is my mother's and grandmother's.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's my favorite. Yes. Yeah. I'm the pie baker for all Thanksgiving meals, and pecan pie is my favorite dessert.
It.
Yeah. That and banana splits. So I know that's 2 answers, but.
Do you have an ice cream spot that you like to go to back home?
Whitey's.
Oh, Whitey's banana splits. Are they good? I've never had
them. Yeah, they're very good. Yeah. Yep. Those 2 things.
I'm just a DQ guy. I love the M&M Blizzard. I'm boring.
Yeah. Well, you're not boring. Paul's a DQ guy too.
Yeah.
He likes a DQ. Yeah.
Good stuff.
It is. All right. If you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be and why?
Yeah, I've been asked this one before here. I think in the past I've said pizza or steak, and I would say steak because Audrey and I love to go to like a really good steakhouse.
Yeah.
And get a really nice cut steak with the sides, mac and cheese, the mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
Brussels sprouts, like good steakhouse. Yeah.
What's your favorite steak cut?
I don't know. I don't know the difference. I'm
No?
terrible with that. I mean,
Yeah.
New York strip maybe, but
Do you like a steak with a bone or without a bone?
no bone.
No bone?
What about you?
Filet mignon. Yeah.
Now, where is the filet mignon cut from? What part of the?
I don't know for sure.
I just
No.
actually picked up. Shout out Kroll Farms, Matt and Nicole Kroll. A quarter beef.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a quarter beef. It's cool because the guy from. So they raise them.
Yep.
And then they sell them to the locker. Tipton locker guy calls. He's like, "Hey, got your beef here. How would you like it broken out?" And then I was like, "I don't know. I mean, I got 4 kids. What would you do?"
Yeah.
Like there's this sheet, and he goes, "Oh, here we go. We'll go through it. Boom, 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 boom." So she picked it up, and she's like, she already made cheeseburgers and taco meat. That was 2 of the meals that are in the fridge right now labeled.
Yep.
And she's like, "This beef is unbelievable."
It's so good. Yeah.
So Matt and Nicole Kroll Farms do an amazing job. I would filet mignon. You're right. It's probably the best.
It is really good.
All right, last one.
Okay.
Last one. Sorry. What is your favorite month?
My favorite month is, oh boy, I have 2. I love really hot weather. So August is July, August.
Yeah.
But then I also really do like late September, early October.
Yeah.
Just because it's
Fall's
cooler,
great.
but it's beautiful. I love photography, so I spend a lot of time outside during those months taking photos and things like that. But I really like hot weather.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I can play ball in 100-degree weather, I'm going to play ball in 100-degree weather. People ask me if I'm crazy. Maybe a little bit. But yeah, I do like August. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember your birthday. When is it?
I'm a Leo. I'm August.
August 2nd?
I'm 9th.
That's right.
There's a lot of Leos here, right in a row. I know Teresa is a Leo. Jeff is a Leo. Beth is a Leo. I'm a Leo.
Teresa
You're a
Hagen.
Leo. Yes.
Another female that kicks ass.
Yes, she
We
does.
did.
And she'll literally kick it if you're not doing something right.
Oh, I know.
Do
Ashley
not-
Eckhoff
Yep. Mm-hmm.
and all their teams. But Mama T.
Mama T. That's exactly right.
She leads our warranty team.
She does. She does. She leads it
She
well,
does an amazing job.
and she keeps us all in line. It's a one person that, I think could instill fear in about anybody. Do not make Mama T mad. I love her. I love her.
She's
a great
great.
job, yeah.
And Ashley does a great job too, leading
Yeah,
the booking
yeah.
team. We've got cool groups there.
Yeah.
Last question. This is it.
Okay.
Then we're going to wrap.
Oh, this is a totally different. You don't have to pick just one item now. How would you describe your personal style?
Personal style, like clothing style? How do you think about that?
What's your style? Yeah.
Well, since you asked.
I love it.
I've gone through a transition in my life, like where originally it was like just buy the cheapest clothes possible. Like
Yep.
I used to go to Kohl's.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
shop Kohl's, and then you get the receipt, and you see how much money you saved.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they show
Yeah.
here's something.
Yep.
And these pants would just wear out.
Oh yeah.
And I'm working
Yeah.
every day, 80 hours a week, and just they'd rip. I remember a couple times you like squat down or whatever and pick something up off the floor,
Yeah.
rip your pants, have to go
Yeah.
home. So I have progressed. Like I maybe spend a little bit more money on the right clothes. So right now, Vineyard Vines has the best pants right now. I love these pants. They're on the go.
They're comfy, aren't they?
They're so comfy. This is a Mizzen and Main shirt. Discount. Mizzen and Main is pricey. I don't like spending the full price. So if I find a discount
Yep.
on like a sale, I'll get the email like, oh yeah, 25% off. I'll jump
Yep.
on that. And this is Vineyard Vines. Vineyard Vines, Mizzen and Main. I love Lululemon.
Yeah.
So I have and this stuff lasts so long.
Yeah.
So I don't shop that often because
Yeah.
when I do, buy the right stuff and then it lasts long. So Cole Haan shoes, got the high tops.
Very nice. I
So
noticed those.
maybe, like the little nicer stuff, but I don't like spending crazy money, but nicer stuff that lasts longer. That's really comfortable. Feels good. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel that.
fair?
That's fair. Yeah.
So
I'm not a shopper. I don't like to shop.
no,
No.
but you got your, those Cole Haans?
No, these are naturalizers.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and they're comfy.
They look
They have
comfy.
a little bit of look of that, but I don't enjoy shopping for myself. Like if I could have a shopper get my stuff, I'd be very happy. If I go to a bookstore, that's where I could get lost, right? But
You do love to read.
I do love to read. I don't know the last
What's
time.
okay book recommendation for the crew? What do you got?
Oh gosh, nonfiction is The Dead and Those Who Are Dying. It's a D-Day book, which is a historical one, so that's very good.
That'd be really good.
Fantasy type of thriller. I read John Gwynne. If you are into that, John Gwynne has a little bit of a Norse feel to it. That's what I'm reading right now. Big books. There's 4 of them. They're 600 to 800 pages per.
Really?
Yeah. And then David Baldacci is another really good author. So he does. And Vince Flynn is the CSI or the CIA government conspiracy theory type of deal too. So there's something for, different genres. Yeah.
So that's what you're doing. If you have some downtime, just relaxing, you're reading.
I am reading.
What about, do you listen to podcasts or anything like that? Or
I listen to one podcast every day, and it's Pastor Rick.
Very nice.
Yep. So I listen to him every day. Music. Sometimes I'll just sit outside, have the music on the speaker, and just watch the sky and the birds.
Any
and
playlists or type genre of music?
I listen to almost all music. I don't do a lot of grunge because I want to be able to listen and relax and take my mind somewhere.
Yeah.
So I have several playlists. I have spiritual based playlists, country, pop, R&B. I love Aretha Franklin and like just music in general. Love it. Depends on what I'm doing. I have a run playlist. I have a chill playlist. Is that a little more
up tempo like DJ? Do you get bouncy?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I get some stuff in there and my kids will hear that playlist and they'll go, "Whose playlist is that, Mom?" I'm like, "Oh, I need that for running when I'm going up that big hill. I need a little extra push."
Spotify has this new DJX. Have you guys seen this, Brad, Zach? DJX, like they do. It's basically like a Pandora will they'll create. There's an algorithm that will just play the music that you've kind of listened to and then feed you more stuff.
Yep.
Well, on the way to work this morning and dropping the kids off at school first, I played DJX. Well, it has some explicit songs in there. And my kids yell at me like they're more aware than I am.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden there'll be an F-bomb or an S-word or something like that. Dad, you got to switch songs. Oh, God, sorry, guys.
Yeah.
So,
They pay attention to that stuff.
They're locked in. But any other kind of final mic drop moments or any comments that you'd like to say before we wrap?
No, I just it's more of a appreciation for the people I work with and you and the McGraths. This is a journey, I call it, in my life to work here. And I think that by coming here, it has allowed me to really understand myself more on who I want to surround myself with and the environment I want to be in. And I think for a lot of people, you don't get there quickly in your life. And so I take that time now as I call myself, I'm aging now, I call myself, just because I want to say the older I get, the wiser I get. But I think that that's part of it that has been so nice for me, is that inner self reflection that you can have. And you guys bring that out here. And so I really appreciate that. I appreciate the time you spend with people. It's not the norm, I will tell you that. And I really appreciate that. So I've actually had a good time sitting here talking to you.
Well said.
So,
well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you
You're welcome.
for the time. And thanks everybody for listening.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.